and welcome to the Talkin Bits podcast. I am your host, Michael, and with me is your other host.
Yeah, you're just full of energy today.
I know, I got it out in the thing.
I thought I was tired.
I thought I was going to match your energy. I figured you were just going to drag it down, so I just
I
was
probably
like,
will.
Yeah.
I probably will.
Hey,
What's up, guys?
That's Nathaniel.
Yeah, that's me. They know by now.
The lesser
they know.
host.
All of our millions of adoring listeners, they know who I am.
Yeah. Do you know that we topped Joe Rogan on Spotify?
No.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Just saying that now.
How many times have we made that joke in the history of
the
this show?
I've
said pull it up,
always.
Jamie, at least 100 times.
I've made it always.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We should stop.
Yeah, we should.
No. What's up, buddy? How
Anyway.
are you? Are you
I'm good.
Are you glad to be here talking some bits today?
Yes, we did a roast battle the other day.
Yeah, we
did do that.
We'll get into that.
I lost.
You did. That's
I
true.
did lose.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Buc-ee's. It was a whole thing.
Oh, God. Yeah. We have so much. But we also have a returning guest
we
today.
do. Corey Day.
What's up, buddy?
Hey guys,
man.
thanks for having me back. It's real fun.
Yeah,
Of
camera's
course.
over there. We need a thumbnail. Okay. Cool.
Bingo. Wow.
There it is.
Very subtle. Yeah. We're real professionals.
Just
Real
figured
professionals.
I'd save you the trouble
That's
of
true.
finding it later.
He's making it easy on me,
Yeah.
so I don't have to scroll through for a thumbnail. That's true.
So, all right, man. Welcome back. We didn't have video last time.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. So don't throw as many gang signs as you did on the last episode.
Yeah.
I decided I'd
That's
wear
it.
a shirt too.
That's right. That's right. That probably would
Yeah.
look better on
No
the video.
pants. You know?
It's also just cold in here, so that's probably
It
a good
is so
move.
cold in here, and
I know.
It's my house, and I
Yeah.
want to apologize about
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty
It
cold.
is so cold.
It'll
down
warm
here.
up.
It's okay. It's gonna warm up with these hot jokes. You guys ready to get into it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No need for that.
hot jokes.
No need for that.
Corey.
No one's ever said it before right now.
We had you on like 20 episodes ago. I don't know. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
like mid-30s now.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like 13, and you guys, what? Last one with Chasey B was 33.
33.
Yeah. So about 20 episodes ago.
Holy shit.
So
wow, man.
that is, 5 months of comedy.
Yeah, something like that.
Roughly.
Yeah.
And you are blowing up. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff now.
A lot.
So I know on the first episode that you were on, you mentioned that you're starting a show, and I know that has happened. Do you want to talk to us about the show that you recently started?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Happening. It's a stand-up showcase for story form, like comedy. I totally ripped off Ari Shaffir. That's
Sure.
from Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So had my first date in January. Went really well despite some issues with the weather. Like it was the one day this winter that Asheville had like a true snowstorm and a snow-related like problem.
Of course.
And
Of course.
so one of my performers lives outside of town. She got snowed in, couldn't perform. I had to have someone else step in, who's great. Like I got like one of the top guys in town, just happened to be around doing Uber riding, and he drove one of my guys from the show to it. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to stick around and do a spot?" So it
That
worked out
very well.
That's wild.
It worked out so well. And then I got downtown, I flyered, and I went to like the hotels. I was like, hey, if you guys have guests that are scared of this cold, like you can walk right here to this brewery, free comedy show. And the fucking bar stayed packed the whole show.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so like, I could have not ever imagined it being like that.
Yeah.
It was so unbelievable given the weather and everything. So that was the first show. And then I just had the second one Friday, so 2 days ago today. And it went really well as well. That's awesome. I felt like I had an inflated perspective on how many people were going to be there. Like it was still a full room and a packed show, but it wasn't like as packed as when everyone had nothing else to do but sit in the brewery in the fucking snowstorm.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was a
that's
really good
awesome.
time.
That's awesome, man.
So
Yeah.
when you're doing this show, are you doing like a showcase style, like a long list lineup, or is it like somebody doing an hour?
No, it's 15-minute sets. So I'm giving everyone 12 to 15. I'm telling them a month, 2 months in advance what the topic's going to be. And everyone pretty much does their set. I play a song in between so the audience can get drinks at the bar and everything without interrupting the show. And then I go back up and I reintroduce the next performer. I split my set up into, I'll do like half of it at the top to kind of warm the show up and open it. And in the middle of the show, wherever I feel like it's like a peak position, I just steal the rest of my half of my set because it's my own show, you know?
Yeah, you ride the wave.
I respect that.
Format, is there a particular show or a showrunner that you know that follows the set, because that's honestly the first I think I've heard of, like the song break in between, which I think is a great idea.
I think that is, yeah. Like it's just like one like 3-minute song, like something real quick, just
grab a drink.
Exactly. So I'm not trying to do too long of a song and get conversations building up too much, but it's not anything that I had heard from or seen from a different show. It was the bartender and I, when we were like talking through how we wanted to run it. It was his suggestion. And I'm like,
great suggestion.
I do better if the bar does better. So,
for sure.
yeah, I'll take that suggestion.
And like the comedians, I mean, I'm sure all the comedians appreciate it too, because like, it does kind of suck when you're just, if you're doing a show at a bar and then like 3 people in like kind of the front just get up to go get a drink.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, I saw it from that angle too. Like it just made sense with the format of this show to just go ahead and do it. I mean, if it weren't a storytelling show, then it would make more sense to, keep the wave rolling of the comedy. But in this case, like, I'm resetting the room. I'm reminding everyone, hey, we're here for a topic. We're here for a purpose. And then, give that next performer their own, fresh introduction and everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What are some of you said you've done 2 now?
Yeah, I've done 2. What
have the topics been?
So the first one was love. It was January 19th. I wanted to get the jump start on Valentine's Day. And also because it was my first show, I was putting so much energy and effort into it. It was honestly, my set was kind of a love letter to comedy and a cross comparison to the love I have for my wife. So I built that set for myself pretty meticulously, and then just thought that was the best topic for my first show, just for sentimental value.
Yeah, I love that.
That's also, I feel like that's a topic that's broad enough to where people probably could put their own spin on it, especially if you have multiple different styles of comics on a show. Sometimes I think that honestly made me nervous when you said it's a theme show, when I had seen like on your social media and stuff, because I think lineup sometimes can be so diverse that it's like, how do I get 6 completely different people talking about one thing? You got to be kind of generic, I think, or kind of broad, which is a smart move on your part.
And we could talk about that because it didn't go so well this time around.
What was the topic this time? So
the topic this time was vacations. I thought middle of March, spring break. Asheville's a pretty touristy town, so let's do vacations. Not to throw my performers under the bus, but only a few of them actually wrote a lot of vacation related material. The rest of them were like, hey, I don't have money, so I don't go on vacations. Here's some vacation stuff, and then some of my best stuff, mixed in there, which was great.
That's fine.
It worked out really great.
Yeah. I get that. I don't think I would do. I've been on vacations, but I don't think I would do well with like a vacation.
I think it's a cool writing exercise, much like the roast battle, like where you're writing for a purpose or for a reason. But you said you give them about a month advance, right? That way,
at least. I've got April booked out. I've got May partially booked right now, so they know what their topics are going to be this far in advance.
What's the April and May shows about? If you can,
I'm gonna plug the hell out of them. Hell yeah,
I love it.
So
it was like a don't tell vibe that you can't. Yeah.
April 19th, One World Brewing downtown. Show starts at 8. There is food that you can get from the brewery.
Ooh, I love food.
The bar's open at noon, so you could get there and wait for the show if you want to.
You can have a real fun time at the show when it starts.
They'll be trashed by showtime.
April 19th is going to be Drugs and Sobriety. It's the Friday night before 420.
Now, see, that's going to be a great show, because what comedian doesn't have a topic or a story on that?
Exactly. And I've got a killer lineup for that one, too.
Yeah, I've never drank or done drugs. I don't have a story about that at all.
What a loser.
Anyway.
I saw you put whiskey in your coffee.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Should've
it's
seen
called Irish coffee.
Should have seen the pipe I was hitting before you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, drugs and sobriety.
It's just
April
a big
19th.
steel pipe. He was punching it. That was weird.
So that's April, okay? And May...
You've seen my torch. Anyway, I'm sorry.
May 17th is the May date. That one's going to be graduation themed. So graduation's not the topic, but high school or college flashbacks. Because I know it's right in graduation season.
Yeah. That's an interesting move, too. Like the theming thing, I think a lot of people do. Maybe not the whole show is themed, but themed ideas or themed topics. And then I don't know if I've ever seen someone base it around like the calendar in that way, which is cool. Like you can, like you said, February or late January feeds right into the Valentine's Day or graduation stuff in May. That's interesting. Do you find that a lot of the crowd members want to participate? I would imagine they have stories of their own that relate to the topic.
Do like an open mic at the end?
Yeah.
Give the crowd 3 minutes apiece. What's the funny?
It hasn't been that rowdy. Like the first one, everyone loved the topic and the show just flowed very well. No heckling or anything.
Yeah.
This one, because we're getting more back into the busy season of like tourism.
Right.
I mean, we had a mostly local audience, but then there was like, a bachelor party came through, and they actually got kicked out before the show because one of the guys, after I set up, he just like gets on mic and starts like fucking around as I'm talking to the bartender. And he's like, "Is this guy with you?" I'm like, "No, he already was a problem with me earlier when I walked around and told everyone I'm starting a comedy show in 20 minutes. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm kicking them all out."
Good.
I
Good
love
for
that.
him, man.
Yeah, I love that.
It sounds like the venue is so it's same venue each time.
Yeah, it was my first choice for a venue in Asheville.
Wow.
So there's some venues that already do shows and have things.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of downtown. It's this back alley brewery. You have to go downstairs to get to it. Low ceilings, dark room.
Awesome.
It's my favorite, man.
Yeah, did they do anything like that beforehand, or are you like the first one to start?
No, they've done comedy there before, but not since I've lived in town. So when I visited in 2016, they had a flyer when I was in the bathroom. It was like Wednesday night's comedy night here. And I've talked to other comedians in the scene that like, oh, this person used to run this room. This person, I think the guy that ran it back in 16 is now living down in Atlanta.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know his name?
Jack Pearson. I've met him once at a Slice of Life comedy show.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have run shows
like
in
a
that.
comedian's name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. Yeah.
It just sounds like welcome to the
or
stage.
like a private investigator from the 40s.
Oh yeah, like I could see like
Jack Pearson on the case. Like
I could see like him being just like knocking on your door with like a tie half undone with a half burned out cigarette, just like, have you seen this girl? And like just hasn't slept in a week. Anyway, you guys didn't find that funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, we normally don't.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here today, Corey, because you don't feed into his nonsense any more than I do, and I appreciate it.
It's okay.
He got roasted on Wednesday. He's mad about it.
That was fun. I enjoyed it, actually.
I'd like to talk about a little Michael nonsense later.
Oh,
what did I do?
Oh, please.
Did I do something?
It was the last time I saw you.
Oh, I know what it is.
What did I do at the comedy club? Oh, is that when I bombed so bad?
Yes.
Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just do.
If that ain't Michael nonsense, I don't know what it is.
I couldn't wait to bring this up.
Dude, okay. Did we talked about how bad that bomb
forgot
was?
You were there.
Have we talked about that on the show
you talked about it.
You talked about it.
Ad nauseum.
You guys talked about it on the solo episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
you recorded that for me, too.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah,
I've not watched that clip. Don't worry.
So not only did I record it for you, when I went up, I had my camera set up, and as I'm getting called up, Travis is introing me. You're like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," on the front of my camera. So I listened to it on the way back.
That guy you were with,
Jason Reel.
Jason did it too. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, he does that to me all the time. I will give you credit. He does that to me all the time when he sees me.
Now I know why you
recording.
bombed. That's karma, dude.
Dude, no, I get on stage, made fun of somebody, and then did that to yours. Like I was just.
You definitely were on. You rode in on a high horse that evening. You
did.
walked out crawling.
I hadn't been on a stage in a month, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a problem tonight. And I
hear sometimes that affects people's sets.
Yeah.
So my favorite part, though. Okay. After he gets off, I think I get a drink. Maybe one or two people go, and I'm standing in the back. We're all standing in the back together, and Michael like nudges me and he goes, "Hey man, I'm usually way better."
Yeah, because you've only ever seen me once, and I'm like, dude, that was honest to God the worst set I've ever.
That was the worst set anybody's ever had.
No,
that was the worst one.
No.
That was right up there with.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
All
Don't say it.
All right, I won't.
No,
that wasn't the worst set ever on the Blue Ridge stage. Do you think that was your worst set though? I don't want to say because
it wasn't truly my worst set, but it was like. It wasn't my worst set ever because I pivoted and I did get some laughs.
Right.
That's
what we were talking about.
My material was like the worst that my actual material's ever gone.
Well, it felt like you just weren't familiar with your own shit. Where it had been
was
so
brand
long.
new stuff too. Like it was. So the jokes I was telling that night, I had only told one time before, and it was, to be fair, the last time I was on stage.
But one of the ones you told, not to like, I'm not going to give away your bit, but one of the ones you told, I have seen you post the video of it. And it did great in the video.
Yeah.
The drinking
one.
Yeah. That was the first time I'd ever done that bit. First time.
The video.
When you crawled?
Yeah.
On the video? Yeah. I was waiting for you to crawl. I'm like, maybe he'll get a laugh.
Dude, nobody was laughing, and I was like, I'm not opening myself up to this shit. Like,
I'm not gonna grovel.
Yeah.
For anybody listening or watching who doesn't know, I mean, Michael and I have been doing this show a long time together. We love each other. I love him dearly. But if I can say one thing about him,
I gotta say,
it's that I enjoy watching you get chin checked every now and then. I think it's good for you to get chin. I think it's good for everybody.
I've seen you bomb a couple times.
Absolutely,
yeah,
and I think it's good for me too. But
that one that we're talking
so
about
funny.
though is like, do I keep telling jokes? Like Travis hugs me before I get off stage.
That's
like,
never good.
Yeah, wasn't it Pruitt at the bar? He's you were like, oh, I haven't been on stage in a few weeks, and he's like, well, don't do that, asshole.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing I'll say, Mike. Obviously, for anybody who's not a comedian that's listening, when you bomb like that, there's a billion things floating in your head. Normally, everybody's default is it's the crowd's fault, it's the stage, it's the room. It's not. It couldn't possibly be me. Michael comes back to me, and I don't even know if you remember saying this, but me and God, who was I standing there with? Dustin maybe or Pruitt.
Yeah,
we're in the back. Michael comes up and he goes, "You know what? I know what I need to do to fix that." And I was like, "I guarantee you don't." I know that you don't know what you need to do. You're going to say the wrong thing.
What did I say,
and you
kill myself?
No, you go, I need to take more time off. And I just looked at Pruitt and he goes, that's the opposite of what you need to do. That's literally why you're in this predicament. Why are you trying to self-medicate by screwing yourself? Like, that is not correct.
I was being a smart ass. No, I
need reps, brother. Reps.
Yeah. No, I know. It was just like, what it was like, so that was like what, the beginning of this month of March.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I did comedy one time in February, just one time in February, because like my daughter had some stuff, my wife had some stuff, and like I just couldn't make it to Bristol.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking do it, and like all the new stuff still. I'm gonna see it through. Nope.
I mean, it is an open
work
mic. Like,
that's what it's for.
Yeah, that's what it's there for.
And honestly, I would say overall, I don't recall anybody on that particular night crushing the room. Like, I don't think it was a particularly hot open mic for anybody.
Nah.
Everybody did fine. Nobody did as bad as Michael, but I
am happy that, I was the best at bombing that night,
Yeah. You did pivot though, like you said, and you started to engage with the crowd and like kind of own up to they like it when know that you're bombing.
You guys get great crowds, man. It's so worth like driving up here from where I'm at. It's to get to Blue Ridge, it's like an hour and 30-minute drive for me. Yeah. And our biggest mic of the week is also Wednesday. So I like have to be selective about, when I'm going to be able to come up here, but it's definitely worth it every time. You guys have for an open mic crowd, like one of the best I've ever seen.
It is fun. There's been times where it's not.
Sure.
Fun,
it's like every other show. There's ups and downs. I think the scene, there were 4 comedy shows in the Tri-Cities last night. Good lineup.
Dude, I couldn't go to any of them, but Kayla and I were doing something yesterday, and I was like, it's a big night for comedy in Johnson City
4
right now.
That's big for us.
Was there a show at the Market Street?
There was. Dan Alton was there. He's Don't Tell Louisville or Don't Tell...
Who was at Blue Ridge last night?
Stephen Adler.
Yeah. So 4
Adler.
4 good
very funny
shows.
guy. Do you know he's a North Carolina guy? He's like a dry bar guy. He has a dry bar special. But he was in the festival and did very well. And I think
was he in the festival?
Yeah. He looks like he's a nice guy. He looks exactly like Fix It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph with the hat and the little rich. He even sounds like him a little bit. He's a very nice dude though. And I heard that his crowd was very good the last 2 nights too. I heard they did well, and then Sean Carter was headlining the Wallace.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the Wallace sell out.
I'm sure it did.
The Wallace sold out. We're gonna talk about Don't Tell in another episode because we have another performer on that episode. But
well, I'll just say it went well. I mean, for anybody listening who's curious, the first Don't Tell show, it sold out. Nice. Sold out a couple days early, and we planned to add a late. We just couldn't quite organize it with the venue in time. But it sold out. Great lineup, great crowd. It was fun. And then afterwards, me and some of the Knoxville comedians and my girlfriend went out to eat at a spot. And when we walked in, Sean Bagley was staying in the waiting room, another comedian friend of ours, and he had been on the Wallace show, which I did not know. So we got to kind of talk about the shows, and it was a first for the Tri-Cities, I think, where people from 2 comedy shows, like 3 or 4 doors down, interact and be like, how was your show tonight? That's probably never happened in the history of the Tri-Cities, where there's Johnson 2 City good shows at one time in Johnson City.
2 sold out shows, 3 doors down.
2 sold out shows.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's really popping off here, and we're excited.
Yeah, it is.
We're excited. But back in Asheville, Corey, I mean, besides the theme show that you're doing now, you said it's called It's Happening, right?
Yeah,
it's happening. So besides that, how many mics are you hitting each week, do you think?
I'm still hitting 3 mics a week, two to 3 mics a week.
3's a good number, I think. Yeah.
I get,
especially for someone with a family and job. Like,
I don't. That's crazy. I don't even know how. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I have a 2-year-old and a 9 to 5. My day job's like, pretty engaging, but like I can also like kind of step away at 5 o'clock and not think about it till the next morning. So that helps. And then I work from home, so I'm able to like.
Oh yeah, so it's not even commute from home to from work to home to home to whatever.
Yeah, it's just from work to picking up my kid, 10 to 15 minutes away at daycare. Back home, I've already got dinner for the most part. Kind of preset. Yeah. My wife gets home, and then we spend like an hour or so, a little bit more together, and then I head out to the mics.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's plenty of time in your schedule there too, and especially with the city that is a little further along, I would say, as far as there's been a scene established there for a little longer.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that there's those opportunities. That's something we look forward to here. I mean, we had those shows last night, but honestly, that's kind of a one-off, or I would say a monthly kind of occur, like one weekend a month. Everybody's like, oh my God, comedy. And then for 3 weekends a month, we're like, I wish there was comedy in the Tri-Cities. Like, that's the stage our scene is in right now. But we're adding mics and stuff too. Travis Stevenson, a good friend of the show, he's hosting one on Thursdays now.
The Cascade one?
Yeah, the Cascade mic, Cascade Draft House. Shout out to
I've seen Mac plug in the market social market.
That's on Monday.
There's
we have one coming back on Tuesday.
Run Bar's coming back?
Or it's not going to be the Run Bar anymore, but it's coming back.
Cool. Didn't know that.
At the same venue.
So I guess that'd be four a week.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
2 in Bristol, 1 in Kingsport, 1 in JC.
That's
pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah. Corey, we part of the reason for having you on the show today too, which you and I obviously talked about when we try to get you on in time, is that you're a big move coming up.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I won't get into my minutia of why we're moving. I'll just say that I don't agree with the way policing is run in the Asheville area, relative specifically to drugs, and I'll leave it at that. It's just going to be a better place for me and my family to move. I don't want to raise a kid around some of the stuff that goes on there.
Ooh.
So we're moving to Charlotte. We had a event take place in February, so about 2 months ago now. That was kind of like the last straw. And we went over to Charlotte. We'd already been checking out and talking about moving to like a bigger city in general, probably by the end of next year.
Now, you said, not to cut you off, you said an event that occurred. Is that like a family related like thing that popped off, or like is it a comedy related thing?
It was a home owning related thing.
Got it. I understand. Well, you're living in a city that's notoriously lenient and a particular side of the spectrum in terms of laws and
yes, right. So we had a home owning event that took place, and it was like, we need to move. I'm not going to just go sell this house and buy another house up the street or in like a close neighborhood.
And this will happen again.
And exactly. And we my wife and I had already talked. We love Asheville, but we saw some things coming from a big. We lived in Tampa before, coming from a big town like that's got a football team, a major football team, a major events, venues and things like that. Yeah. We wanted to be back around something like that. So I don't have to drive 2 hours when I go see like a major music performer or go see an NFL game or something. So we were, like I said, talking about doing this by the end of next year. And with what happened, we were like, all right, let's kind of just get that ball rolling sooner.
Yeah.
And it pushed us to not settle, but decide on Charlotte, because she had some things she wanted. I had some things I wanted. I honestly wanted to move like further west, and she was not for that. She wanted to be closer to where her father is, which is up in like rural Virginia. So Charlotte's technically an hour closer to him now.
Gotcha.
We have good friends in Charlotte. I really like the area as well.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
I love Charlotte.
It's great.
That's where I quit drinking. Anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, that is Charlotte. The story we were talking about earlier.
That's true.
Love Charlotte.
Yeah.
62 days.
So do you have any idiot. Sorry. Do you have any things that you can reveal? Obviously, you're going to continue comedy when you get to Charlotte.
Yep.
But is there anything on your plate as far as when I arrive, when we unpack the boxes, here's what I have laid out for me?
Oh no, I'm kind of apprehensive to lay that out for myself. I'm very detail oriented in the first place. So for me to know like it's gonna put undue pressure on me to do that is something that kind of takes a lot of like holding my own ego back from like, I'm going to go hit mics the week we fucking move in.
Right.
I would love to, but if it's not in the cards, then it's not, and I don't want to hold myself to that. Yeah. So we close April 3rd. We got movers coming in like April 12th and 13th. So it's going to be probably the whole month of April that we're settling. And we haven't even sold our Asheville house yet. We're still working on getting that all done.
Gotcha.
So
if any of our listeners want to buy a house in Asheville that's never had any legal trouble or drug-related issues, please hit up Corey after the show. There'll be a house for sale.
It's a beautiful house. It's got a great. It's on a great property.
There you go.
He didn't use me.
That's all I need to know.
You may just have some neighbor issues, but I actually, since we've been in this process, another neighbor was like, "Oh, they're moving soon. I just heard, or in the near future." So I mean, there's a side of me. I know you're an agent. I work in a real estate aligned field as well. But part of me is like, I want to keep this damn house and turn it into a rental property. But it's just, it's too big to rent, really. For
that's sure. Not to get like boring comedy bullshit. But you're whenever we bought this house, our old house, we were like, we should just rent it. And then we're like, we don't really like. It was like kind of the same thing. It was like just not in a good area to rent out. And it was like, we just sold it, and it worked out anyway.
Yeah.
So I kept it quick. Anyway,
he can't help himself.
So
I think Nathaniel's gonna murder me one day. Go ahead.
I have some like connections over in the community over there. I know like a few Instagram pages I follow that post like all the mics going on like week by week. So
you've done your research.
When of course. Yeah. When I'm ready, I'm gonna plug back in, get out to just as many mics as I am now. Yeah. And I'm gonna keep my show in Asheville at least for the foreseeable future. So I'll just drive back over.
Is that once a month?
It's once a month. Yeah. It's the third Friday of every month roughly.
And what's like us driving to Knoxville?
It's like us driving 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours on the nose.
Totally doable.
Yeah,
that's
totally
not bad
doable.
At all.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a roast battle? I do want to talk about this.
Never have. That. I'd be interested to do one. We just don't have any near us. Yeah. For me to have like had an opportunity for.
On the topic of the culture, the culture of Asheville, which we've talked about again, like at length on the show, the difference in the crowds there or the culture there, and our little side of the border. But I think that a roast battle would be interesting there because I'd be very curious how a crowd would be receptive to it, or if they'd be this is my personal opinion. I think there would be a lot stronger, bolder lines not to be crossed in a city like Asheville. I think there would be a lot more red tape around certain subjects. I think a roast would be harder to pull off.
I think we were, I don't know about you, Nathaniel, but I was surprised about some of the stuff that the crowd did not like that we said to each other. Like,
that just depends on the roast. I've been to several, and I mean, I've gotten away with saying things for sure that I probably wouldn't in Asheville. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know if that's true.
My opening line to Nathaniel, and if you don't want me to share it, it's fine.
About my dad leaving?
Yeah.
No, you go right ahead.
The first thing I said to Nathaniel
He's not going to hear it, so you...
That's true.
I'm right here, dude.
Yeah.
The first thing I said to Nathaniel on this roast was after a 2-hour drive up to Knoxville, I understand when Nathaniel's dad left him. Mm-hmm. And half the crowd laughed. The other half of the crowd went, oh.
Yeah. Half of them were immediately on my side after that, which was interesting. Because Travis, I've done the roast 3 times, and each person I've gone up against, usually the first line against me is a dad-related thing because it is fun. And I always know, like I told Travis Stevenson, whoever gets to that topic first on the coin flip, if I can get to it first, I win. If you can get to it first, you win. And it worked in his favor. They loved him for it. So I think it's just that particular line or something. I don't know. Maybe that one felt too aggressive for him. But the roast battle is interesting. So you said you would be interested in doing something like that?
Yeah.
Justin.
The whole thing with me running my show is I wanted to exercise a different muscle and do storytelling.
It is different.
I'm all for every aspect of stand-up. I would like to try, see if I'm good at, see if I like it. Even if I'm not good at it, work at it to get better. Full-rounded game is what I'm trying to put together.
You want to talk about being humbled? Nathaniel, it wasn't even your line that humbled me because I thought it was a very funny line. It was the crowd's reaction. It was the line you said about me with CrossFit. Do you want to...
Oh, I said...
have to bring it up on the show.
Yeah. Anyway. It hurt his feelings. Now he's like...
No, it did. No, the joke did not hurt my feeling, but the crowd reaction, which I'll tell you.
I said, Michael does CrossFit. He tells me that squats are his second favorite lifts, right behind the ones in his shoes right now. And the crowd, what made him mad is he watched every eye in the crowd size him up from head to toe and back up.
And I was just like, I had never felt more uncomfortable in my life.
I would have taken my shoes off.
Now you know what every female comedian feels like as soon as they step on stage. The crowd sizing them up that way.
Just size me up. No, we did good. We both had one that just did not go.
That's true. Yeah.
We both had one that kind of bombed. Both of them, I think they were just too wordy. I think they were both very funny jokes. I think we just
wordy,
way too wordy on them.
Well, it's an interesting format too, Corey. Like the That roast battle, I'm sure it's different for everyone. Justin Mays runs an excellent show. It's very successful. But that format, they want that rapid fire, quick punch. Like our friend John Pruitt, I'm sure we'll talk about it when he comes on next. We love Pruitt, but Pruitt is a storyteller comedian.
Yeah.
And so to watch him go and try to adapt to that format, the crowd just was not buying it from Pruitt. It was too wordy for them. He was too I don't know if too detailed is the word or what it is. It's a different thing.
Yeah,
it's
I think
a different kind of writing.
Pace.
Yeah. Because, like, Pruitt has said, like, some very funny, mean, terrible things to me, but they were so wordy. And I'm just like, they were very funny to me, but I don't think they would be very funny on a show, like a roast battle, because, like...
Yeah. Well, what they want is a one-liner. They want something digestible and quick that they can go, oh, and like have a big reaction to with a long setup. And here's the other thing. Like I also got the chance to judge a roast battle. So I've done 3 of my own, and I was a guest judge one night because they had a drop. So I got to sit between Justin Mays and Keith Marcel, which is a fun place to be at a show like that. And watching it was interesting because there was 2 female comedians who were great out of Knoxville, and they were roommates for many years. And it was very personal. Their roast was
like
all
inside baseball.
Yeah, it was like, you don't wash your laundry. Like they very personal. And the crowd didn't quite know what to make. What they want is something superficial. Like they want me to make fun of how short Michael is. They want him to make fun of my neck beard. Like things they can see because they don't know us. And so I think for that reason, it's a cool exercise in writing, because a lot of it you got to do on the fly because the crowd's looking at them. Or Andrew McCaffrey talked about on the show when an opponent of his showed up in a crazy like costume, not looking his normal self, he had to basically scratch everything he'd wrote about his appearance and come up with new stuff in the moment, which is stressful and I think unique.
Sure.
In comedy. Yeah. Is there another improv, sketch? Is there any other aspect of comedy that interests you outside of roasting and storytelling? And
I would give improv a try. I think I'm not good at it. Like I'm pretty quick on my feet until I'm in that moment.
Yeah.
I've taken
so you have eyes looking at you.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
I've taken like a class even in high school that was like a drama class, and the teacher like centered a lot of the stuff that we did in that class around improv. Yeah. Not specifically improv comedy, but I grew up watching Whose Line a lot. Yeah. So it interests me. It's just a thing like I said that I would put myself into, and then as soon as I do and I see where I'm at, I'd work real hard to try to get better. Yeah. See where I'm at from there and be like, is this for me or not? Sure. And kind of take it or leave it at that point.
And Nathaniel's the biggest improv fan I've ever met in my life.
Love it. Big fan. You mentioned well-rounded is a cool term too, I think, because in the world of comedy, like, and I'll shout out the Don't Tell show one quick time. The headliner last night was Keith Marcel out of Knoxville. Do you know, have you met Keith?
No.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. He's typically like him and Brandy Augustus are usually they win the title of like Knoxville's funniest each year or whatever. They kind of fight over that crown. Keith's incredible. And I had never seen him do more than 10 minutes. Okay. So I booked him for 20 minutes. And at like 9.5 minutes in, he's been destroying since he stepped on stage. And I looked at my watch, realized he's 10 minutes in, and I'm like, I haven't heard a joke yet. He hasn't told a single joke yet. He is just doing crowd work. And then he goes into material for the last 10 and destroys, of course, because I already knew that was good. I just didn't know how he's going to fill the time. Turns out he could have done 3 hours, I think. I mean, they adored him from the second he came out. So that well-roundedness is so cool to see when that, like with Keith, is he can switch from the crowd work, reacting to what's going on, and then go right into the material, and it's almost seamless.
Hell yeah.
It's so cool to see, and I'm jealous. I can do a little of both. I feel fairly proficient at both, but that seamless blending of the two is super cool to see. It's super cool. Is crowd work something that is harder for you to work on? Most comedians struggle with crowd work more than material, I would say.
I haven't put myself up to it so much. Like anytime I try to engage crowd work, it's just like a through line to the next thing I'm going to do. Right. And I've caught myself on a few occasions like engaging the crowd, getting a response, and then like just okay, back to my bit. Like that wasn't how I wanted to do it. I just like in the moment was like, I have time. Like, cause I'm doing it in like a 5-minute set or, 10-minute set. Like, okay, I'm going to throw my whole timing of my bits off and like get a light in the middle of my closing bit. Like, no. So, again, just a thing I know I need to work on.
I know a lot of people will do crowd work shows too. In fact, I think Blue Ridge has done a couple over the years. Now, those stress me out. Those are like the crowd is there for crowd. Like, fuck your material. We don't want to hear any jokes. You just roll. That's a different thing. That's a very different thing. I think I suffer from this for sure, and I know a lot of young comics do. where you'll try to engage in crowd work, but what I'm really trying to do is lead a crowd member towards one of my bits so that I can move on. And so I'll be like, any dog fans? And nobody says anything. I'm like, there's one in the back, like, and just make it up. And like, I have a dog joke and do it anyways. But there's rare moments. Like I did Knoxville's Don't Tell on Friday, and there was there's two crowd members that wound up being basically ejected. It was off the rails. But it just turns out she was wearing a custom printed Jeep T-shirt, her and her husband matching. She was like, I'm a Jeep girl, and would not shut up.
Oh, the worst.
And I have a whole chunk in my act about Jeep girls. Yeah. So it was just like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That was one of the rare occasions where it's like, this feels organic, like crowd work, but this is so canned. Like I have a whole bit.
That's how it should flow, though.
That's how it should flow. Yeah. Yeah. In that moment, I was like, man, if I could pull this off, like even at the end, I'm not spoiling the joke at all, but that's just foul or whatever. Yeah. The Jeep thing with rubber ducks. The ducks. Yeah, it's dumb. So I hit her with that, obviously, and she's like, oh, and the crowd's like, oh, and I was like, see, Michelle, her name was Michelle. Shout out to that stupid bitch. I was like,
she's listening.
Oh, trust me, she was the
biggest
worst.
Fan.
The worst. So many people left bad reviews and great reviews on the Don't Tell thing for Justin about, like, all of them said, great show except for Michelle. Everybody, she was.
Why did y'all know her name? Like, somebody asked her, like, her name?
Why do we know her name? No, she kept saying it. She would not. She got up on stage and touched the headline.
One of those.
During the show?
During the show.
Tell us about this fucking lady.
There's a hilarious video that Justin Mays has that I would love to post, but he won't let me. But shout out to Nick Murphy, also do you know Nick Murphy out of Atlanta? Anytime after a show, since I've been doing comedy, that I'm sitting in a circle of comics and I'm like, who is somebody in the Southeast that just murders, that for whatever reason nobody knows his name or her name? Everybody's like, Nick Murphy. So I got the chance to open for him at Don't Tell, and boy, are they right. This dude was eviscerating her and another crowd member he was just drunk. Nick was like, this is the most aggressively supportive crowd work I've ever done, because he had to keep shutting him down, but the guy would be like, I love you, man, I love you. But he just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
But Michelle got on stage, touched the committee. It was a lot. But, shit, I forgot what I was saying. It was a crazy show. It was a great show though, and Nick was the perfect headliner for that to engage in that way. Same thing though. Like when I see him do crowd work, I go, man, I wish that I had that skill. Obviously, I don't think any comedian wants to be in that situation where you're basically engaging a foot away with a drunk crowd member who won't leave you alone. Yeah. And wound up leaving.
So what was Michelle's reason for getting on stage? Like, how early in the show did this start?
She was just. About got us taken off YouTube. She was just dumb. She was very dumb. She was a very dumb person. But she was also drunk. Her husband was drunk, and they were kind of rowdy through the whole set. And Nick had heard. They talked to me. I had to, in my recording, you can hear me putting them down, and I was second. So every comic had to put them down. And then by the time Nick comes out, he's heard it all night. And he's just like, who's Michelle? And then he just went after, immediately destroyed. And it was literally like watching a professional just dunk on. So, I mean, it was and so then she's, of course, so flustered that she reacts by getting up and touching Nick. And it was crazy.
And then, he just asked him to leave, or what happened?
Well, they wound up sitting back down. And then I think a little bit later in the set, they got up and left. But fun story. So after the show, it was in a cool little venue in Maryville, Tennessee. Maryville, I was told. I said it wrong.
No, it's Maryville.
I literally said, hello, Maryville, and 6 people went, Maryville. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, great start.
You should have been like, sorry, I mispronounced your country-ass name for your town.
It was
Maryville.
Maryville. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, they were very, so.
Also, real quick on the same topic of that.
Yeah.
Baileyton, you know where that is in Tennessee?
Yeah.
You know how the locals pronounce Baileyton? It's spelled B-A-I-L-E-Y.
They pronounce it
Belton.
Belton. Ooh.
Belton.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
They, after the show, the owner of the venue came up and she was like, I have some news for you all. And all the comics started circling me like, what? And she was like, Michelle left her phone.
Oh, my God.
So we took thousands of pictures on this lady's phone of all the comics, everybody, Nick, everything.
No testicles?
No testicles.
Oh, that's what I would have done.
Unfortunately, we did not. Done. Then last night, I'm at dinner with Justin Mays after my show, and he goes, oh my God, dude, I forgot to tell you. And I was like, what? And he goes, you remember when Michelle left her phone and we all took those pictures? And I was like, yeah, fuck her. She was terrible. And he goes, yeah. Turns out, different Michelle.
Oh, that's great.
So there was apparently another crowd member named Michelle who left her phone. And
she will never go to a comedy show again.
She's gonna open her camera roll and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It's this Amish guy.
Also, at that show, I got to witness something.
I bombed with an Amish joke on him on the roast.
That's true. That's true.
We're just
she during the show too, like I got to see a crowd band together against one of their own.
I've seen that.
You see that when like literally they're booing her, they're screaming at her, sit down. Like when she's on stage, everybody's like, shut the fuck, sit down, get out, boo. And there's a video that Justin has of Nick Murphy a foot away from this lady in her face into the microphone going, Michelle, you are the worst. You are the worst human being. Please sit down. And the crowd's booing her. So what's that like for you when you can see a crowd turn on, obviously like a rowdy crowd member? I mean, that's just part of it. We all see it.
I've been in a crowd.
It's vindicating, you know, when they're like, I'm here to see a show, not to see this fucking asshole that's not like a performer, like trying to steal the show.
Making it about them.
Exactly. Yeah. No one wants that. Like, we do want crowd engagement, obviously. But we don't want you to try to hijack the thing. Like you said, even if you don't see it coming, most of what we're doing is planned. Like, we may try to lead you to a certain thing. And we have in the back of our mind, like, oh, we're going to get him to this topic or we're going to get him to this response and we're going to crush him with the shit we got. Like, but some audience members, like I would call like untrained audience members, you know, the casuals.
Never been to a live show, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they imbibe a little bit too much, then man, it goes off the rails.
The
quick.
Drinking too.
Their parents left them. They don't know basic.
Well,
human
the don't
manners.
tell atmosphere is also kind of wild. I mean, it's BYOB also, so they're probably already trash when they show up. But in her case, like it was one of those things where every time Nick would start talking, she would try to follow it. Like after he'd deliver a line, she would murmur something. And so at one point she started trying to talk on this subject, and Nick said something. She starts to talk, and he goes, Michelle, I can promise you that whatever bullshit you're about to say is not as funny as the bullshit I'm about to say.
Yeah.
And the crowd lost it. But that's exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, let the man work.
Yeah,
like he's here for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And they're just stomping the flow over and over.
I probably told the story of whenever we saw Taylor Tomlinson, and we were sitting.
I don't know if you have.
It was a great show, all that, but this like audience member sitting a couple seats down from us, every single fucking punchline that came out of Taylor Tomlinson's mouth, she audibly went, "Amen, sister." We were all like, "Shut the fuck."
That's a tough one, right? Because they're being supportive.
Yeah.
They want to help, but it's like
you're annoying.
I don't need your help.
Yeah. And like every punchline, it got to the point where so it's just me and Kayla, and then like all the other people there.
Yeah.
Every time that woman talked, we laughed harder at her talk. Like it got to the point where like it was like, all right, you're having fun. All right, shut the fuck up. All right, when is she gonna say it? And then like we just found it funny at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you have, Corey, is there like an image of a crowd member in your head that sticks out during this conversation? Because I have a couple.
I've got one.
If I ever see them, I'll punch them in the face. Yeah,
I've got one. I've been waiting to get off. So I did a show not too long ago. My friend Jess Williams, she lives out in Burnsville. She's the one that couldn't make it to the January show, so I had her on this month.
I know Jess.
She's
on the first ever show I got paid to do. Anyway, go ahead.
Nice.
She's great.
Yeah, Jess is great. She started running a show at her local bar out in Burnsville where she lives, which is like about a full hour outside of like Asheville proper. And it was a great crowd. Like they were a bit rowdy because they're just like the regulars at this bar in Burnsville. And halfway through the show, I went up first. Like there was a few booked people and then she'd open mic afterwards. And I went up first. So it was still relatively calm. My set went great. The girl that went up like second, like after me, the book girl that went up after me, an audience member like came on stage and like tried to take the mic from her and like was just kind of being that rowdy. It wasn't Jess, actually. It was Sarah Love. That was the comedian at the time. And I'm sitting in the back eating my food because I had just gotten off and went to the food truck. And I stand up and I'm like, it's just the bartender here. Like, do I need to go like help like this situation? And Sarah just like fucking shoulder checks the lady.
Oh my God.
Like,
Jesus.
Not too aggressively.
No,
like,
but like get away from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was fucking hilarious, man.
Isn't it something those crowd members who, like Michelle.
They were great though.
Right.
Like
overall,
they were great.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's something about just no awareness. Like Michelle was standing on the stage, touching Nick Murphy. 80 other people are booing her and screaming, "Sit down, stop it, sit down, stop it."
She
Her
didn't get
own
any
boyfriend
attention.
was like, "Come here, sit."
Yeah.
Come.
She didn't get any attention as a kid,
Well,
so
but
negative
she has
attention
no
is positive
awareness
attention.
that nobody likes this but you. She's also drunk, which is part of it.
Either no
dude,
awareness.
I've never been so drunk to do shit like that, and I've been
Yeah.
so drunk. I do have a Jess story.
Well, hold on one second.
I was just going to say either no awareness or they already recognize internally that they're already in too deep and just have to keep riding the asshole wave.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're this character. They're the villain.
Story.
Yeah.
There's no sitting
That's
back
true.
down and behaving once you're that person.
That's true.
You know, it's either I leave or I ride this until I get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like,
And
they
she
have to have
did
that reckoning.
Kind of just sit there with her arms folded, pouting for the rest of the show after that.
That's kind of what you do.
She was
Yeah.
ejected. She
Sorry.
also was
No,
trying
you're
to. Justin was trying to get her to leave. Like the showrunner, obviously at a certain when you're touching the comedian, you gotta go.
Yeah.
It's
You
time
get
to
on
go.
the stage, it's done.
Right. So Justin's
You're
like in the aisle, and he's like, "Michelle, come on, like come to me." So she like holds her hand out, and he goes to reach it, and she just shakes it, as if he was just wanting to shake her hand in the middle of the show. And then he'd give her like a little pull in this direction, and she let go. And turned around and went back up towards Nick, and Justin was like, "I don't know what to do. Like, you gotta go." And as a now producer for the same company, that's a pickle. Like, what do you do? Because you can't touch this person, but all you want to do is pick them up and throw them out the window.
Yeah.
But like, you got to find a way to not derail the show because there's still 10 minutes left, and we gotta. Oh, it's so
Just
it's
pick
so
her up
tough.
by her shoulders like you do a toddler.
You couldn't pick this lady up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No. Jess, I did a show with Jess and Mario, actually.
Okay, yeah.
At Alley Ray's. I think Mario was headlining. It was me, Jess. I don't remember who the other comic was, and then Mario. And I opened, and this was one of the worst shows I ever did there. And it wasn't anything like, so have you ever done a show there, Alley Ray's?
No. I've hit up Adam, but I haven't.
It's a cool
It
spot.
was.
It's
I hit him up
typically-
like as I was getting the whole move thing started. So
It's a restaurant though, so a lot of
It's
times the crowd's
typically-
very disengaged.
It is typically a very good spot to do a show, but this particular night, there was this whole group, like at the very front of the restaurant, that was not there for comedy at all, and let it be fucking known that they were not there for comedy. They were there for food, and they were heckling. They heckled me. I kind of shut them down a little bit, but not that great because I was kind of new. And then Jess went after me and was like, "Can you guys just shut the fuck up?"
That's Jess.
And then
I love
brought
it.
one of them on stage to make fun of them.
I love it. That's Jess.
Yeah, and then they
Oh
left.
boy, brought him on stage.
Yeah, so
She goes into the fire, dude.
she I don't remember it was something about women's anatomy that she was like, "Can you explain this to the crowd because you're being like a pussy or something?" It was very funny. And it shut that table up. They like all made fun of their guy. And then they left halfway through Jess's set, and she was like, "Bye." Like, it was very funny. Yeah.
Well,
she
that's the
handled
other
it
thing
very
too.
well.
Sometimes they'll tuck tail and leave.
Yeah.
Like in fact, at that Michelle show, a couple of the crowd members.
The Michelle show.
Yeah, I guess they knew her and the other guy it's small town Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel. So
Marvel.
they.
Marvel.
Several groups got up and left, and we were standing in the back by the door. And as they left, they were
Marvels.
like, "We know them, and we are so embarrassed, and we're so sorry. Like, we literally can't sit there and watch any more of this. We have to leave."
Yeah.
That's another thing too, where like as a crowd, like even at my show last night, I had a lot of family or close friends in the crowd, and like if a cousin of mine starts popping off or something, I know that like my whole family's like, "Jesus Christ, shut up!" Like as a crowd, they're kind of doing a performance also.
Yeah.
It's like everybody understands we're here to listen and engage if necessary, but not ruin the show. But then there's that one fucking person, there's that one Michelle in the crowd who just ruins it. But I mean, with your storytelling thing, Corey, do you find that the crowd is more engaged? I would imagine that format is super like stimulating because you're building a story.
Yeah, no, they definitely stay engaged. Like, so
Yeah.
the way it's set up, like the stage is in the back of the room, and then there's some tables and standing room, and then the bar is facing the other way on the other side of the room. So
Oh, you really do need to do the break then. Like if it's
Yeah.
Well, it's just a brewery. They don't have liquor there, so I mean, people go through a beer in between a set, and then they're just sitting there with empties. And I'm not going to have them 20 people get up in the middle of someone's set. It would be too chaotic. So it does lend itself to the format and to the venue. But the whole bar, like the whole back of the bar, everyone is turned around back to the bar facing the show. Like I don't ever see a face not like focused on the stage at the time performers are up there.
Which is great. Because Alley Ray's that we were talking about is one of those situations where some people are there just to eat.
Yep.
It's a restaurant first.
They typically clear it out pretty well before but like those big like that particular one was like 8 or 10 p.m. Like it just
right.
Shows at 7 or so. I can't remember what time the show
starts.
starts.
And it's the timing too.
They come in at 6:30. They're not done yet, and they're just being asses. But it's fun.
So with this move coming up, Corey, obviously you don't have anything super set in place or any shows in Charlotte yet. But what do you know a whole lot about that scene as far as? You said you know what kind of mics they're running and stuff, but I think there's a Don't Tell Charlotte, I think, right? And
I think so.
Probably some dry bar stuff.
I would imagine there's Don't. I mean, it's a bigger city than us.
So the showcase I did in December was Bold and Beautiful. Kaya Allen runs that, so I've met her. I felt like I did really well. I don't think she was at the show, but Nathan Baker was running it, and he said I did really well.
That's
so
awesome.
Looking to like just get my footing and plug myself in over there.
That's kind of exciting, though.
No, it's a bigger community. Obviously, it's a huge city. It's a bigger community. They have an actual comedy club, the Comedy Zone. Actually, did you guys hear about?
Oh, is there a zone there?
Yeah, there's a zone there. They don't do a mic at the zone, but like a day or two ago, Craig Robinson was there, and there was an open shooter in the venue. They had to like shut down and cancel the show.
Shit.
Like the security like got the shooter like detained and whatever, but.
Wow.
One of my friends just posted it in our like Asheville thread.
That's insane. Do you know Craig Robinson?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's great. Of course. It's Daryl.
It's Daryl.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, I'm gonna.
I love how you think I don't know a comedian, whereas every fucking episode of this show, you're like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. He's a prolific stand-up too.
I've never heard of Richard Pryor before.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's my Michael impression. Mitch who Hedberg. That's my Michael impression.
That's me. That
sounds just like you.
Yeah. I low key. I was gonna make a joke about Jerry Seinfeld, and then I. For a second, there, I forgot his name.
Oh wow! Boy, if that doesn't prove my point.
But Craig Robinson, though, that'd
he
be a
does.
cool
Does
show.
he still do the piano for his set?
I haven't seen him live, but I'm pretty sure he does.
I think he does
I feel like that's
stuff.
a tenet of his stand-ups like set. If he's doing a headlining set,
that can be very funny. Like Galifianakis used to do a whole piano set too.
Do you know Owen Benjamin?
I do. Yeah.
So I've seen Owen Benjamin 3 times live. I might have talked about it last time I was on the show.
I think you did.
Sorry, but he does a full set of stand-up and then brings out his keyboard and does like another 30 to 40 of songs and
so cool.
music stuff.
Bo Burnham, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
He does that too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah. That name rings a bell.
He's pretty famous,
Yeah, that's
from
true.
Parks and Recreation.
Well, he's a good example of like a super
that was fucking dumb.
innovative.
We're moving on.
I think we have to.
It was dumb.
A super innovative approach to stand-up. Like we were just talking the other night in Knoxville. Have you guys seen this comic who's doing auto-tune comedy? And I forgot the dude's name. Jay something or something Jay, I think.
Jay Smith.
No.
That's his name.
Is it really?
No, I don't know.
You're so full of shit. The guy, he does like a T-Pain style auto-tune into the mic. And so he basically, the clips I've seen at least, is all crowd work, but it'll get a huge laugh just because of like the auto-tune.
It's unique.
It's cool. Very unique. Well, what's funny is I watch his videos and I look at the comments and it's other comedians and they're just bitching in the comments about like, oh, I could get laughs if I put auto-tune on the microphone. It's like, bro, you didn't think of it.
Or do it.
You didn't think of it. Do it. And everybody's going to go, oh, you're doing his thing.
Exactly.
Because he did it first. Yeah, it's the same with the piano thing. There's a lot of comics who'd be like, ooh, if I just played a guitar on stage, I could get laughs.
I don't
do it. Yeah.
I don't know this comedian's name. He's on America's Got Talent, though. He's obviously a very clean comedian. He's an older guy. But he does PowerPoints. And like all of his jokes are based on PowerPoints.
Does he have one about rubber ducks?
Probably.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Same
Very
thing.
funny. Yeah,
Steve-O does a thing like that.
Yeah, Steve-O's live show.
And he does like live videos and kind of a presentation along with it too of just crazy shit that he can't put on social media.
Steve-O?
Anyways, Corey, I'm very glad.
To be fair, he does skate.
Yeah.
I like this game that I'm playing.
I don't like this character.
I like this game I'm doing. Give me someone else that I can say that.
Can you roast him for me? Can you please put him
I'll start working on it.
Okay.
Go for it. Off the
Next
head.
time you're on.
What do you think when you look at me?
Off the head?
Off the head. Off the head.
I'd like you to take your fucking stupid hoodie off.
I'm with him. I told him a couple weeks ago that he looks like he draws a comic book about how he's a vigilante. Do you think that fits, like Michael Mann? Does that fit his description? Like,
I don't think the Vans hoodie does that.
Giles Morales.
Do you still have the high fade?
Yeah.
You just look like a fucking a paintbrush, dude. Take the hoodie off.
Very similar to the toothbrush aspect that Andrew McCaffrey said toothbrush. And
Show them the paintbrush.
Yeah,
if we flipped you over and put paint on your fucking head,
up,
we could make a beautiful picture with you.
I'll say this: when you posted those real estate photos the other night at the awards banquet, I thought to myself, "That's the highest I've ever seen Michael's hair." You really got it up there for that awards.
You were dressed quite well too.
Thank you.
It was a very nice suit.
That's true.
I appreciate that.
Your hair was up there,
but it was looking good. Tell me it was looking good.
I don't want to lie.
I want to say.
don't wanna lie to
So
you.
I posted this. I did this real estate thing the other day. Posted some pictures of it. Got a lot of engagement. A lot of likes, a lot of hearts, except for Nathaniel Boer, who put a mad reaction on the post.
And what the comments say?
I demand a recount or something.
I saw that.
That made me laugh, but I was like, why is the mad reaction? Like,
He won like Rookie of the Year, some stupid made up ass rule, something nobody cares about and has no financial incentive.
170 people cared about it. It's not a big deal or nothing.
Yeah, 170. That's cool.
Literally.
That's cool.
Your wife got a trophy too, didn't she?
No, that was my trophy. I got 2 trophies.
Oh, you got 2.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
She got wife of Rookie of the Year.
That's what it was. Yeah.
When you posted it, I thought I saw. Here's
Trophies
the
are
problem.
upstairs if you guys want to see them.
I saw a lot of. I'm
You should
surprised
just
it's not
start
on the
putting-
table. Yeah.
No, they're going to my office. I just haven't been to my office yet.
I
Anyway.
saw a lot of comedians that I know, and one in particular, I saw Johnny, a former guest of the show, comment, and I thought, oh, good.
I thought Johnny was
going
to roast
Of
me.
course, so did I.
I
And then when
was-
I read a very heartfelt comment from Johnny, I was like, no, we got to turn this shit around. So that's when I commented, I demand a recount.
No, yours made me laugh. The mad reaction though, because you know how whenever you're looking
upset.
at your post, it says it'll have like the
The
like,
faces,
the heart,
the emoji.
and then
There's a little
Nathaniel
red
was
face.
just red, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, dick. Yeah, no,
I'm just saying, I'm angry. I'm upset about it. I think you stuffed the ballot. I think Ohio did some fixing on the numbers, and you won. That's
I
what
just
I thought.
sold more houses
Election
than all the
joke.
other rookies. Not a big deal. So
Oh, yeah.
no,
It's pretty cool. I
Anyway.
still don't think it justifies the hair. I'm going to be honest. I don't think.
you know.
There's kind of a curse with Rookie of the Year, too. Nobody's ever won it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, is that
Oh,
right?
man.
Yeah, I beat last
That's
year's
an old
Rookie of
Norm
the Year.
McDonald joke.
I
but
beat the
that's-
last Rookie of the Year. It's funny. The last Rookie of the Year was sitting at my table, and he was like, "I got 3 trophies."
Is
last
this a
year."
real estate podcast now? Is
Yeah,
that what
well,
it
you
is?
guys brought it up. I just wanted to point
We're
that
just
out.
talking about your hair.
Yeah, I think
I was forced into a roast. And
That's
it was
true.
It was the first thing.
yours was. It was okay. It was better than
It's surface
Nathaniel's.
level. It's what you got to go for.
I will say, Nathaniel brings up my hair so much because there's
He's
a
losing
reason
his?
he wears a hat. Doesn't have a lot underneath.
That's
there.
true.
to compliment the beard.
Yeah, and if I could borrow some of that, because you have plenty to spare up top, I would put it. I have a spot in particular where it needs to go.
Yeah.
There's one little circle that's forming. Like
It'd be very funny, like my
crop
reddish
circle.
hair on your, dirty looking hair. I don't.
wow,
Dirty.
I
Dirty.
don't know.
just because I haven't washed it this week.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah.
I take a shower once a month, even if I don't need it.
I
So
can
I'm,
smell it.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I can smell it. My car still smells.
This
like
is
it.
actually a podcast where we just make
Hey.
fun of each other with a guest sitting nearby.
No.
That's what-
We do have to wrap up in a second, but I do
Yeah.
really want to talk about
We do.
our Bucky's experience. If you would like to talk,
Can we
about
save it?
Do you want to save it?
Yeah, let's save it. Let's save it.
Okay.
Yeah, we got because I want to ask Corey one more thing,
Okay.
which is when you were on the show last time, I believe you were either just coming back from or were just about to go to a trip to was it Denver?
Yeah, Denver. I went to
Denver.
Denver to see Mark
Red Rocks.
Herbier. I did a mic there.
Yes.
I went
At Red
to.
Rock?
No, I didn't do a mic at Red Rock. I did a mic at a comedy club. It was called Rise Comedy.
Yeah.
I went to see a music show at Red Rocks.
Right.
Yeah,
It was
no,
great.
but that would be cool.
Yeah.
I went to Meow Wolf. That's where I got this hat from.
That's awesome.
Meow Wolf was dope. And then I did the same thing when I traveled to St. Louis for work last week. I just got on Reddit and Google and found the mics in town.
That's
I,
awesome.
I hit 2 mics.
How did that go in St. Louis?
It was cool, man. I did a mic at the Funny Bone, or one of the Funny Bones. They have more than one there. And then I did a mic at a hot dog place. Like it was just
That's kinda
It was
cool.
just their Wednesday night mic was at this hot dog restaurant. It was good though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
I met some of the guys that seemed to be kind of the top guys in their community.
What's
Learned
the,
a little bit about their scene.
What's that arch like?
I didn't get too close to it. I mean, it's there. It's just in the sky.
It's just
kind
an
of.
arch. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I've seen it. It's very unimpressive. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've seen it. He
Just
just
wanted
likes
penny
to
on the
sweep the
track.
leg on every good
There's a video on
conversation.
the track. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Doing mics. We're talking about doing mics.
Yeah,
It's like I can't talk about
you
that.
did
I
it at a
don't,
hot dog place, right?
yeah, the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. No.
Yeah,
God,
there's like
don't pretend to be engaged.
There's
now.
like a big
Fuck off.
wiener being held right behind
God,
where
that
you're
pisses
performing.
me off when he just derails it and then he's like, anyways, what were we all talking about? We were talking about something else.
I'm
Fuck
sorry.
off.
I'm sorry.
No, but so doing mics like that
across.
in
Weird.
other cities, does that train you at all in a way? I would imagine that's a good practice for now moving to this new city. And I'm very hesitant to use the phrase starting over in a scene because I don't think you're ever starting over. But I think
you're reestablishing
learning
yourself.
a new scene, like reorienting, in what is going to be different. I mean, it's different in every city. Does that scare you, excite you? Both?
It excites me. No, like, I mean, so there's a side of it where we've talked about the Asheville community before.
Sure.
Me and my demographic or who I am and kind of who I think appeals to my comedy isn't necessarily the standard Asheville audience member.
Right.
So I get to go like test my shit against other crowds and against other like demographics and populations and see how that goes.
How does it hold up? Have you found
Better in general than Asheville somewhat. And I'm not audience blaming in any capacity. I'm just saying
it's
like
always audience fault. That's been established on this podcast.
Some of my stuff goes better when I go to other communities and other areas.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have a brand. I mean, you have a style, and I think we're also young in comedy, but a big part of it is finding your voice and finding your style. And so it changes, but the little glimpses you get are the little moments where you're like, this is me. Some crowds are just not going to dig that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not going to happen. And on a showcase lineup, too, where you got 6 very different comedians, I mean, sometimes the crowd's just out on one and in on the other. It happens. But you think Charlotte is a scene that is more fitting to your humor?
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I think it's overall like a bigger scene, so they're more fitting to more things because there's going to be more opportunities more in general as well.
Right. Audience members, too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I mean, I've only done one
bigger city
spotlight show or showcase show, whatever, in Charlotte, so I don't have that much of a sample size personally.
Yeah.
But the other side of that too is like, I'm close to a year in now. Like, I want to be able to travel and do comedy. Sure. So me just hitting a mic when I travel to a different city is my entry level at figuring out how to do that. Like, when the time is right, I'm going to have already limited but some experience at it. Like, like I said, like, I've got things in the bag now. I'm not starting over. I'm just going to a new place. Obviously, getting into a community and finding my fitting in a community is the starting over side of it. Yeah. But like, if I were to walk into a different town a year ago versus now, like, relatively speaking, I can crush as opposed to like, I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. I think Charlotte, really North Carolina as a whole, has several cities with a very established scene. Like, I know that Raleigh is
Raleigh.
Like,
what do they call that? The Triangle?
Right.
Chapel Hill, Durham, Raleigh.
Yeah. Over there is a lot. There's a lot in Greensboro too. Winston-Salem.
Yeah, Greensboro. What is Greensboro? The Idiot Box Comedy Club?
Yes, Idiot Box. And then EJ Mesacampo, shout out to EJ. He's Don't Tell Winston-Salem also. And he was in the festival too. Great dude. And very, very nice guy. And
Wilmington too, I think, has a good scene.
Yes, there's a lot over there. So I'm sure, look, man, no matter what you do, I think you're going to do awesome at it. I think it's going to be fun. Yeah. But do you have anything to plug? I mean, obviously you got a move coming up, but plug anything you'd like to.
It's happening. April 19th, Drugs and Sobriety. May 17th, High School and College Flashbacks. It'll keep going. Relatively the third Friday of the month at One World Brewing downtown.
June's going to be about Juneteenth. Go ahead.
Juneteenth was my first mic. That's how I remember it. It's pretty easy. So.
Even during the plug segment, he can't stop himself.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I want you to know I thought of that earlier, and I was like, I don't know if I want to say it, but people have clicked off by now, so I felt comfortable saying it.
That's true.
So it's a cool brewery. Yeah. It's a good space for comedy. It's a great space for stand-up comedy. And they've got food accessible from the restaurant straight upstairs.
That's awesome.
Come check it out.
And where can they follow you also? Social media?
Yeah, so you can follow me, Corey Day Comedy, mostly active on Instagram. And then the production side of things, Original Grain Comedy. I'm just starting to get that off the ground. So if you could follow both of those, that'd be greatly appreciated.
And they will. OG Comedy, Original Grain. Yeah.
Yes,
It's
sir.
going to be awesome.
Michael Rose Comedy on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a show coming up at Blue Ridge. I don't know when it is, but I will let you all know.
So if you guys want to watch Michael Baum again, go check him out at Blue Ridge. I've got my Instagram is NLB_423. Never going to change it. Sorry, Michael.
That's not me. That was Travis.
More importantly, I think the Instagram that I need to build up right now is Don't Tell Tri-Cities. So if you're watching this, follow Don't Tell Tri-Cities. It is, as of recording, it's the day after last night's show, the first one. So I don't have any details about next month. We'll cross that bridge soon. But
I'm headlining.
There will be details coming soon on that.
And our podcast is Talkin Bits Pod on
Talkin
Instagram.
Bits Pod.
So.
Also follow my TikTok. We post fun clips there and shit. So there'll be clips from Corey's episode, probably us making fun of Michael and all that good stuff. So,
don't follow my TikTok because I don't know the handle and I don't use it.
Are you TikTok? No TikTok? Good.
No.
Good for you. I wish I wasn't. I'm a sellout. And that's our show.
That is. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.